there guys, it's Immersive Gamer 3 and thank you for watching VR Gamer as well. What's up guys, it's pretty VR. Cooking, good looking, and welcome back. And welcome to another reality check VR.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to VRSpies Exposed, episode 36. I am your host, Don, VR Gamer Dude, and I am joined here by my very good friends, VR Gaming Evolved and Game Hard 4.0, and our very special guest, Garry Hamer, Push for Emor developer, aka Lupus Solus. How are you guys doing today?
Not bad.
All right, right on.
Special guest or special needs guest?
But well, you know, I mean, we love you. We love you, Garry. You know,
I'd just like to point out that I did go out today and buy a new webcam for this. So this is a brand new webcam, but unfortunately, it seems to be stuck on the. They've got this like old grumpy old guy filter going on. It's on shop demonstration. I actually look like Nathan's slightly older brother. You know, probably a bit chunkier around the shoulders. You know, but I don't feel too bad because, well, clearly all the Spies have got exactly the same camera, so that's all good, I suppose.
Well, yeah, especially mine. You know, I mean, I've definitely got the old guy filter going on here. So
I don't even know what I'm doing up in this joint. So, but I'm here anyway. So,
well, you know what the hell's going on, man?
It's all good.
Right on. It is all good, man. It is all good. So it's a beautiful Sunday, and we are very happy to have you back with us, Garry. I was prodding through the archives of the VRSpies Exposed, and 35 episodes ago, I realized you were our very first guest. So it's kind of come full circle.
Yes. I was very proud to be on that one, and I seem to remember being very drunk. So no one go and look at that if you can help it.
The early days of the podcast were
totally... I didn't have the old guy cam either as well. So
right on. Well, you have been busy, sir. You have recently launched a game into Steam Early Access, and that is what we are here to talk about. So, Push for Emor. What is it? What was your inspiration?
Okay, right. So Push for Emor is a sci-fi FPS RPG. It's got a little bit of RTS thrown in it in a very loose and friendly kind of way, so it's not hardcore. And it's made for the monitor, but it's also made for the Rift and also the Vive. So I've got all the bases covered. And it's a fun romp. You know, if anyone's going into the game hoping for something hardcore, then they probably won't get it. But if they go in there just wanting a bit of fun and then just being dragged by the story from, oh, that's quite a cool moment, oh, this is quite fun, and then in different scenarios, I think there's around about anywhere between 3 and 4 hours worth of gameplay, shorter if you speedrun it, but I'm trying to get people just to have a really good time as they go through it. So yeah, obviously it's built in a science fiction universe, but you can basically go to different solar systems, and each solar system has a different tech level. So when you get to the first solar system, it's all very low tech. The second solar system is all steampunk, and then the third system and Emor itself is going to be very cyberpunk, to be created, clearly. And I found that because of that, I've got this great freedom just to have a great time, because it's like the best fun I've ever had, you know. So there we go, sci-fi FPS RPG.
Well, you just kind of described it like my favourite type of woman. They're loose, friendly, and a hardcore fun romp.
Yes, basically, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh,
my mum says hi, by the way.
Hi, Mom. I'm on TV. What's up?
Okay, make an oddly cue, for fuck's sake. Oh,
and
sorry.
I can see actually Rick Connor VR says that he's been playing Push for Emor a fair bit, and it's absolutely one of my favorite VR games. How about that?
Oh, come on.
Right. Praise.
Right. So feedback like that is just makes 2 years of sitting in this little room on my own, with Mr. Jim Beam, banging my head against Unity, and usually going at the screen going, right, no, and then it all breaking, yeah, and then Unity bringing out a new build and everything breaking, and then Oculus bringing out a new build and everything breaking. HTC Vive, fix your runtime, please, guys. And when someone plays it and gives that kind of feedback, it's like, right, it's worth it. Every single bit of pain has been totally worth it. So, cheers, big man. Thanks for the feedback. Brilliant.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely awesome. So what made you want to make this type of game, Gary?
Well, because I'm a gamer, right? And I think every single gamer at some point has a little nerdy wet dream about making their own game. And I decided that I wanted to have a quick look at Unity just to see what it was all about. I mean, how do you even get a model into a game, and how do you actually move around? How does it? And I didn't have a clue, and I bumped into Unity, and I started to have a noodle around, and it's like, this isn't as hard as I thought. Oh my God. So I messed around with some assets, threw some stuff together, came up with a very, very early push for Emor kind of concept, and I threw it to my mate. And I said, just check this out. I've been kind of noodling around over the weekend. And he was like my first proof of concept. And it was only about 15 minutes worth of gameplay. And I had him bouncing between two planets. So he was in the ship, he then went to a planet, then he went to another planet. Some dudes arrived and he had to shoot them. And I'm trying to talk to him. And he's like, shut up, as he's playing. Yeah. And when he finished, he had this grin on his face. And at that point, I was hooked. And it's like, yeah. I want to be able to do this because that's a really, really cool thing. And then I just started to look at all the games that I was playing and what I really wanted. And at the time, I was playing a bit of Eve, and it really upset me that I couldn't get out of my ship and go onto the planet. Yeah, it really upset me that I couldn't blow up another ship and then go onto that ship. I've clearly just blown it up, and the best I can do is get something out of the cargo hold. Well, that's pants. I want to go in there. But clearly it's not an FPS game. So then I was playing Borderlands, and Borderlands is like an awesome game. But I was always looking at the sky and going, right, okay, if this planet is this cool, what are the other planets like? And me and my mate were talking about, in a drunken kind of Skype session one night, when Borderlands 2 comes out, do you think it will have other planets? I'm like, it's got to. And then Borderlands 2 landed, and it didn't. And it's like, and it was a bit of a letdown. So all of a sudden then I've learned how to do this Unity thing, and I'm realizing that in a very indie kind of way, I can throw something together that I might enjoy playing. And then it was like a massive bolt out of the blue when other people started to enjoy it as well, and then it just kind of steamrolled, and then VR came, and all of a sudden I'm stood in the first town, yeah, and I've got, she was called Jolly Angie at the time because she looked like Angelina Jolie, but I had to pull her because of copyright. I got Jolly Angie stood in front of me, and I'm in VR looking around, and there's snow falling around me. I'm like, this is awesome. How could I not want to do this? And then one thing led to another. And before I knew it, I was on Greenlight. It got greenlit, and then I was on Steam. So
that's that's quite interesting, actually. So you are basically self-taught then. I mean, that kind of changes my entire outlook on all of this, because Push for Emor is something I would never expect from just a self-taught guy, and because it looks much more what can I say, much more
triple A is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, triple A. Absolutely right. Now we do actually have another question, and I think this is an interesting one as well, because this is a question for the developer, yeah. And Push for Emor has a fair bit of humor in it. Where did the inspiration for the humor come from? I get Monkey Island vibes in places.
Right, okay. So basically, I'm not a real person, right? What you see in front of you is a bunch of old Carry On films and a bunch of old Eddie Izzard concerts and a bunch of old Monty Python films, all kind of rolled together. And that's why you get that, because I could have gone down the whole, it's a very, very deep, engaging kind of backstory, like Mass Effect. But the hard, cold truth is, most people don't read the text. I did a show, and I had this line of people all playing the game, not because the game was awesome, but because they had an Oculus Rift on the table. And every single one of them was next. Look around for the marker. That's where I go. So it's like, well, if no one's going to read it, then I'm just going to have fun with this. I'm just going to do what I want, you know. And that's why, for the people who do read it, it's a little bit bizarre. And obviously, I've got all this pop culture that I can like hook into. So it's like, well, I'm going to steal all of that. I'm going to have all of that, thank you. You know, that's why when you're talking to Reg and he says, you know, what have the Emorians ever done for us? You know, that's straight out of Life of Brian, you know. And then, then he says, well, you know, what have they ever given us? And he says, the replicators. He says, it's Earl Grey tea all the way. So, right, so I've got Reg there and I've got Picard, right, in the same sentence. Come on. You know, so some people are not going to get it. Most people won't even read it. Some people won't get it. But for the ones that do, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's never. No one's ever going to have belly laughs, but it's like reading Terry Pratchett. In every kind of page, yeah, there's a little bit of a link to something in the real world that makes you go, oh yeah, that's quite funny. That that's as good as it gets.
I love the humor in the game, man. I mean, it's totally on my wavelength. So
yeah. Cheers. Water, not vodka. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. So basically, how much extra work had there been to make the game work in VR? I mean, how, you know, you say you started it as just kind of like a fun project outside before VR hit. So what did it really take to get it into VR and make it look right?
Right. So it's very basicness. Basicness, is that even an English word? At its basic level, it's a tick box. You literally just tick a box and it now works in VR. So it's a second to do. That's the easy bit. Actually making the game look good and run well in VR, that's the challenge. Because, like I said before, constantly, Oculus were and are still changing the runtime all the time. Yeah, Unity is always changing their stuff to try and keep up with what Oculus is doing, because everything's so embryonic. You know, it's like it's not even born yet. Really, everything's still. You could argue that the CV1 is actually a CV, but the software certainly isn't. That's still being done. You know, the Vive is a really, really good headset, but you know, again, they're still improving it all the time, especially through software. So every time one of those things landed, things would just stop working. And it's like, you want an open world area, but now, if you, in the normal game, everything's fine. On a monitor, it's fine, but all of a sudden, it slows to a crawl in VR because it's been rendered twice, etc., etc. Now, obviously, asynchronous space warp is going to help that, but it's only just landed. It's only been here for a couple of weeks, you know. So pre that, it was like a massive, massive fight to get everything to actually be smooth in both headsets. And I still haven't nailed it for my potato machine that I develop on, because I've got a low-level machine for developing on, so that if it works on mine, it works on all of everyone's. And I think there's like one area on the medieval planet where it's just a little bit jittery for about 150 yards, and no matter what I do, I can't get rid of that, you know. And then obviously it's all the menus that have got to be completely different. Some things will work great in the CV1, but then when I run it in the Vive, it's completely different. So I've got to do a load of hackery to make it work on both of them. And I need one build to rule them all. So I've got one build that does everything, you know. And then all the control systems. I've just been doing the tracked controllers, which, you know, for the Vive, which are unbelievably awesome. All of a sudden, you know, you stood there, you've got a gun in each hand, you know, or you've got a shotgun and a cyber sword, and it's just brilliant, you know. It's like a nerdy wet dream. But to make that work and make that work smoothly, total massive amount of work. But once it's up and running and it's got up to speed, it's good. It's really good. So yeah, the game would have been finished literally with all the planets in a year, and I'm reckoning because we've nailed in VR. Well, not me, because I've nailed in VR. Yeah, you can double that time, if not triple it. So.
You were mentioning asynchronous space warp there, Garry. How are you finding the asynchronous reprojection that HTC have just brought in with the data branch?
I haven't really done any kind of A/B testing on regards to how it's affecting the performance. And I've got to be honest with you, I'm not at that tech level. That's down to the Unity guys. Yeah,
Okay.
you know, I don't go digging into their Unity engine code to make this work. That's a patch that they have to apply. Also, I mean, I'm running an AMD, and I'm not even sure that it's working properly with the AMD. I think it's on an NVIDIA.
I think you might be right there.
So all of these things are like way above my pay grade, and it's a matter of I've just got to wait for the guys who've got brains the size of planets to actually get the stuff together. See me self-editing here. Any kind of like expletive comes up, I'm just editing it out. Get the stuff together, and hopefully just make it work. And then obviously a lot of my pain goes away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's good to see that they're bringing stuff like that in. I mean, like I say, it's still a beta branch, and yeah, you are correct. I don't think it's working with the AMD cards at the moment, but definitely it's pushing forward and bringing stuff like that in.
Yes. It's needed, really. I mean, when they brought out the asynchronous space warp, all of a sudden, the machine that you needed was now a 960, you know, and it's like, well, that's just brilliant, because obviously that just puts it in the reach of lots of people. So now you've got a bunch of people who were saving up for a machine and saving up for the Rift. It's like, well, I don't need the machine now. And because I've been saving up for both, I've now got enough for the Rift. So I'll just go and buy that then. You know, so that's a big win for Oculus, because clearly all of a sudden they've just captured, and anyone who was on the fence between, well, shall I get the Rift or the Vive? It's like, well, it's a no-brainer now. I can just use my old machine. And Touch is coming soon anyway. Like, we're what, a month away?
So soon. Oh my God, so close.
Well, I need that to be further away, because, well, they are going to nail it into Push, yeah? You know, the Touch controllers arrived, you know, and I opened the box and just went, oh, more flaming work. You know, I just closed it like that. It's the same when the OSVR came. Oh, God.
I think the nice thing, and I think Caleb has kind of shown that quite a few times on his channel, is that when the touch controllers get here, yeah, I mean, some of the button placements won't be the same, but people will still be able to use them to play Push.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Well, the thing is, it'll be native support anyway, because all the framework that I've done for the Vive controllers, it's not going to be a massive amount of work to then just translate that into the Touch controllers. So rather than it being months of work, I'm rather hoping it's going to be kind of a week's work to get it all boxed off and ready to rock. So I'm going to be starting that next week. So.
I was kind of along those same lines as, like, you know, workflow and things like that. Vic here in the chat had a question. He says, I see we have options for seated, standing, and room scale. Has this been a challenge to do in terms of gameplay or time to incorporate?
Yes, the biggest one was the Vive. Now, clearly, when I started off, it was just a monitor game, and it was obviously that seated. And then when I nailed in the Oculus support, well, that's a controller and that's seated, so that's fine. As long as people understand that there's buttons in the interface so that you can slow down your turning, so you've got comfort levels you can tweak, that's fine. But when it came to the Vive, it's like I can't use that character controller anymore because it doesn't work. Yeah, because people have literally got the ability to be stood up and then turn around and face a different direction, but the character controller model is still pointing north. Yeah, but you've now turned by 90 degrees. So when you go forward, you're still going north, but you're actually facing a different way. So I had to rip all that apart and put it back together again, so that no matter where you were facing, that was the place that you was going to go. So you could just stand around, look around, and go, oh, I want to go over there, and it just works without going, oh, I've got to reposition my body and then turn it, you know. So there was all that. And then, of course, there was a bit of a pride before a fall thing, because everyone was saying, oh, you want to look at this onward? And I'm like, no, my system's better.
Oh, God.
Forget those guys. They'll soon realize that my system's miles better. And then on day one, you know, in the first 3 hours, I had this like tsunami of kind of, you know, player rage come towards me, and I'm like, oh, right, okay. So in the end, I just went, right, okay, I'll do the onward thing, you know. And again, it was like, it only took me about a couple of hours to nail it into the game, but then to get the game to fit around that, it was a couple of days of quite intense teeth gnashing to get it so that I was happy with it, you know. And I am quite anally retentive about that. I don't want to put anything right unless it's as good as I can get it. But then, obviously, you've always got it'll work fantastic on my machine, and it's like, oh my god, that's brilliant. And then you watch somebody else play it on a YouTube video, and it's broken. And it's like, how is it even broken? You know, I've tested that a million times. There's a dude. There's a dude who's put a picture, right, and he's fallen through the floor in the space station. How? I mean, I have been through every single inch of that, and you know, and there he is waving at the space station as it's going away, and it's like a developer's nightmare. It's like, oh, just kill me now. So you got to go back in there, you know, and then try and box all that off and hope it doesn't happen again. But yeah, it's like no matter how much I test it, and no matter how much you test it with beta testers, who, to be fair, do a great job, but it's completely different. It's a bit like writing something on screen, yeah? And then as soon as you print it out, you see a spelling mistake. It's exactly the same as that.
Yeah. You briefly touched on the OS VR there, so are you up and running with OS?
No, it is on my to-do list. I'm going to be nailing it in after the touch.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the touch is... I'm being totally mercenary here, yeah? The touch is going to generate more interest for the game than OS VR is at the moment. Because it's not... They still haven't got their install software sorted out yet. It's still very... You've got to be working at NASA... Well, no, you don't. You got to know what you're doing. You can't just go and just buy it off the shelf and then just plug it in and Windows 10 automatically installs a driver for you. You know, there's still a lot of hackery that needs to be... I mean, it's called the Hacker Dev Kit, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You know? So there's still all of that going on, and there's not many out there in the wild where clearly there's going to be lots of touch controllers out there in December. So my main focus now is to carry on bug fixing and improving what I've already got, start working on the steampunk, and nail in the touch controllers all in a month.
Yeah,
I don't need to sleep. I don't need to sleep. You know?
I was gonna say, no, you know, you're a game dev. You just, you don't need to sleep.
You don't need to sleep.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what are you hoping players are going to like best about your game?
Right. Okay. So when I started making the game, I built all the planets, all the environments, and all the planets are already there. They just haven't got content yet. And then I went and I was troubleshooting something, and I had my head stuck in this thing for about a week and a half. It was probably to do with some flaming locomotion, and then I went back to the planets, and I'd forgotten what they were. And this ties in exactly with what it's like when you're watching something like Firefly or Star Trek. Yeah, you come out of whatever warp it is, yeah, and you're hanging above a planet, and you have no idea what it's like down there. You've got no idea who's down there or what mad stuff they're going to be having you doing. Yeah, and you get that little. There's a little kind of, oh, I wonder what's going to be happening now, yeah? And that for me, when I was kind of buzzing between the planets because I'd forgotten what I'd done in each of them, yeah, that for me is, as I'm going towards the jump gate, going towards the landing gate, I'm going, it's just a really nice, exciting feeling. And then obviously you get down there and obviously you're dragged through this mad mini adventure that I've created that's going to have people doing, you know, lots of fun stuff, hopefully. So yeah, the different things. I'm hoping that they're going to get a kick out of the different things. I mean, it's an FPS game, so there's not much you can really do with that. I can make the guns interesting. You know, everyone knows about the chicken gun. I tried to keep that. Well, I didn't keep it under wraps, but I didn't. But I didn't want anyone to have any pictures of it. It's like the medieval planet. A couple of people have done some screenshots of the medieval planet, so that's out now. But leading up to launch, I didn't personally put anything up there because I wanted people to hit that for the first time and go, what? Oh my god. But clearly it works. A guy who did a YouTube video said, okay, so I'm on a medieval planet, but it's a sci-fi game, but it totally works because it's happened in Star Trek, so it must be true.
That's awesome.
And
well,
it is, you know.
Of course, if it's been on Star Trek, it's got to be true.
Yeah, well, flipping heck. Yeah, well, obviously, I'm just copying their real-world life experiences. So there we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, and because of that, because you know, aliens could come here and they're going to be far more advanced than us, you know, and we are literally still killing each other with pointy sticks and throwing rocks at the moon compared to these guys. Because of all that, I can just go a little bit wild with it and just have great fun. And there's many a time that I've just been sat here and I'll come up with this bizarre idea and I'll implement it and I'll be looking at it on screen going, that's awesome, and I'll be every time I shoot the chicken gun, I LOL for real, definitely. Just love it. Dropping the heavy stuff, when you drop the heavy stuff for the first time in VR, it's a moment, and I can remember I was working at the time when I wasn't doing it full time. I wasn't doing game dev full time, and that idea came in my head, and I nailed it in, and it's like, you know what, this is just brilliant, and I got it to work, and it wasn't a massive amount of work to get it to work, but the visual effect of it was just, and again, every time that thing comes overhead, I'm looking up because you can just tell the scale of it, and it's just like, I love it. I'm not doing it for the money, I'm doing it for the art, honest.
No, that's great, man.
Although a limousine and a trophy wife would be appreciated, so can you please go and buy the game and give me some nice reviews? Thank you.
Well, I think, and Reckoner VR here in the chat is talking about that. It's the variety of gameplay that really is a big thing for me in Push for Immer, and he's saying the same thing. And I like the fact that you got FPS, you got vehicles in there. Reckoner also is talking about getting on the back of the dragon, blew him away. So
I had a problem with the dragon. Right, just to go back to the vehicles. Obviously, everybody knows that one of the great things about VR is if you're in a vehicle. Yeah. So we're all playing P-Cars, we're all playing Elite Dangerous, and it's just awesome. But I can remember the first time I booted up Assetto Corsa, and it wasn't actually working properly. It was a very, very early beta, and it spawned me kind of outside the car. And it was all broken, but I could actually kind of look around the car before kind of getting myself in position inside it. And I'm like, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I just walk up to a vehicle in the game and then just get in it? You don't need no fancy kind of Star Citizen animation where you've got ladder immersion or anything. You can just instant flick it. In fact, because it's VR, you'd have to do that, or else, because if you take control of the camera, then clearly people are going to be ill. But if you just instantly flick it, and then why not? And then at that point, I'm like, well, right, what vehicles have I got? I've now got loads of vehicles that I can't wait for people to start flying around in and stuff. But the dragon, I had a problem with the dragon because you'll notice when you're in the dragon, you've got no body. And the reason for that is because the animation of the dragon flying, its back's doing this, so it's going up and down. Right. So number one, when I clamped the player model to it, you're going up and down as well, like this, So then I got it so that it wasn't going up, you weren't going up and down, but then the spines of the dragon, were physically going into your body if you looked down, into your legs and into your torso. And I know it's only a game and it's not make-believe, but looking down and seeing those things impaling you, it was like, oh, that's a bit uncomfortable, actually. So in the end, I had to pull it. So I pulled the model, but the effect is still there. You still sat there on a freaking dragon going, check me out on a dragon. The only thing that I haven't got, which everyone says, is I wish that it shot fireballs. I hear you. There will be fireballs. But then my mind fast forwards to, well, if I've got fireballs, I need something to shoot.
Well, you heard it here first.
So it's a matter of, right, well, I need some kind of scenario that, I'll probably put a point of interest somewhere in the world, which you can only get to with the dragon, and if you go there, you'll be able to use your fireballs to do something. I don't know. Suggestions on a postcard, please. There we go.
There we go.
Just while we're on just while we're on the subject of suggestions, anybody who's played the game will realise that the heavy stuff is lacking in a certain area. Now, I'm going to do an official post about this on the actual community channel, But the heavy stuff has got no texture on it. It's just a box that I threw up there. And right from day one, I thought to myself, I could just throw a texture on there. My skill level is that high. I could drag and drop a texture, make it look like it should be part of a sci-fi ship. But then I wanted to do something that was a bit more, because like you're dropping, and I thought, it looks like a massive Call of Duty care package. So what can I put on there? And then I thought, why am I trying to do this? I'm going to have, hopefully, a bunch of people who've bought the game who are going to be gods at this. So why don't I open it up as some kind of a competition for the community? Let them design a care package a graphic for the heavy stuff, you know, and whichever is the best one, you know, I'll use and I'll put it in the game. So that's why that is blank. So if anyone, I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be doing something official on the community channel, and then, but I just wanted to give people a heads up here. That's what's going to be happening. People are going to be able to enter, just basically do a bit of noodling in design and see if they can come up with something that's going to make everyone LOL, but it obviously fits in the theme of the game as well. Sorry, next question. Sorry, rambling now. This water is very strong.
You know what? You know what I think is so fascinating, though, guys, is the fact that VR. I realize this now. VR has the potential to make grown-ass men feel like kids again. I mean, that is really something, though. That, you know, kind of speaks. That says a lot, though, when I think about it. Because it's been a long time since I've felt like a kid whenever I'm trying new gadgets and stuff. Is it not? And now Oculus Touch is just around the corner. Oh my God, it's a good time to be.
When I demoed the Touch at Best Buy a couple of weeks ago, it was Gamehard. You nailed it. It was a sense of childlike wonder. It was just amazing.
Let's face it, right? In another 40 years, I'm going to be in an old people's home, yeah? I'm going to be about 90, yeah? I'm going to be strapped into VR, and I'm going to be pawning some teenage kid, yeah? Teabagging him and saying, tell your mama I'll pick her up at 10. Bring it. I'm ready.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're never going to grow old. We're just going to transfer into the computer and become avatars.
Come on.
I mean, let's face it. You really don't want to grow up, and don't ever grow up. It's a trap, I'll tell you. It's a trap. So stay young at heart. Be a kid. You know, never lose your inner child. Yeah.
I am only 49 on the outside. On the inside, I'm still 19. And every morning I wake up and I go, "Who's that old guy?" Or sometimes, "Hey, Dad."
Hey, Dad. Oh, that's hilarious. So we got another question from Vic here in the chat that I think some other people had been wondering about. It says, I see you're going for a single-player experience. Any chance of co-op DLC in the future?
Right, okay, so there is co-op code in there. And when I spawn stuff in, I do spawn it in as using the network spawner and all that jazz. But it became painfully obvious quite quickly that the scope of the game that I had it as a single player was going to be filling quite a number of years to get it to completion and to how I wanted it. And if I then added that layer of co-op-ness, so look at the co-op layer, basically, then it might not ever get finished. But because that code is there, I'm not saying that it's never ever going to happen. And I would love for it to happen. I would love me and my mates to be running around the first planet, you know, and then jumping into flying cars together. You know, that would just be awesome. So at the moment, no. Yeah. But I'm not saying never. That's the best I can give you. Okay. Sorry, guys.
No, it works. I mean, you know, it's a solid answer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what other games are you guys excited for, though? I'm curious about that. I mean, now that we know that Oculus Touch is soon to be rolling out. What games are you excited to play, guys? And what about you, Garry? Are any games in particular you're looking forward to play, except for Push for Emor, of
course? You know what? I've got to be honest with you. I don't know, because I literally have just been working 18 hours a day for last year, you know, and I buy some games and some other devs give me games, you know, and I'll have a quick blast on them. But I haven't actually bumped into something where I've gone, I can't wait to play that. I can't wait to see it, you know. But obviously there's going to be stuff out there that's coming up. But as soon as I get my head out of this little kind of bubble, then I might be able to have a look around. So sorry, I don't know. But I know that there's exciting stuff about to land. So
I mean, it's no secret for me, obviously, and unfortunately it got delayed until next year. But for me, it's Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Yeah,
I am more excited about that game than I have been about a game in years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to actually watch you play that eventually.
Yeah, I might
bring
actually
those
go back
videos
to the
up.
beginnings of my channel and don the Starfleet uniform again.
I think you should. You should go all
do a
out
little
on that one.
machinima, do some little role playing,
Absolutely.
the Aegis there.
One of the big ones for me, I suppose, as far as touch goes, would be Killing Floor. Killing Floor is looking very interesting, especially with the co-op in there. I'm really hoping that they nail in some sort of locomotion and don't just leave it as teleport only, which that's a bit worrying. But it does look a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm just actually checking. I'm cheating. I'm just checking Oculus Store as of now. And Narcosis, that looks very promising as well, I would say.
Yeah, Narcosis is looking very promising. And as a diver, an unemployed diver at the moment, seeing as there's not much diving work going on.
Sorry.
I am quite looking forward to checking that out as well. I have actually experienced Narcosis firsthand under the water, and it's a very disturbing thing when Narcosis hits your brain. Very, very disturbing, to the point I remember being in the water at one point and not being able to understand English. Basically, my supervisor was talking to me as I was swimming around, and it was just coming through like, I don't know, Martian. Complete and utter gobbledygook.
Well, you are Scottish, mate, to be fair.
Yeah. But Narcosis is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I guess VR Gaming Evolved is the channel to check out then once Narcosis hits the shelves. Because, yeah, as he said, he is actually working, and at least he used to work as a professional diver. So he has first-hand experience what it is like to be a fish on the water. So
I tell you,
check it out.
I'm definitely
Finding Greg. Come on.
Finding Greg.
Finding Greg. the third movie from Disney. Yeah.
I'm surprised Pixar haven't called them already. I mean, what? Finding Greg.
They've got about speed dial, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah, people are definitely saying he's Scottish, so he is excused. Okay, that's good. That's good.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there we have it. Somebody says Fallout 4 VR is one I'm looking forward to, and I guess a lot of people are looking forward to that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm really hoping that they open up the entire game world and that they don't just make that teleport or some sort of localized version of the game. I really hope it's the entire game.
Yeah, me too. We're seeing so much of that.
Wave shooter based in the Fallout 4 universe or something like that. But yeah, I mean,
and people are
potential to be amazing.
Yeah, I see people are already mentioning, the Soul Keeper VR. One I'm also thinking people are definitely looking out for.
I know. Wayne just did his video on it. I think yesterday, and in the new private alpha. I know Nathy also covered it as well. Both of those excellent videos. So definitely, if you haven't seen Soulkeeper VR, go check those out. I know we all got our alpha keys. Unfortunately, that is still a Vive-only game at the moment. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out next month when my touch controllers get here. But it just looks absolutely stunning. I mean,
and didn't we also have this HTC Vive dude in the chat as well? Is it Alexander, by the way?
Alexander. He recently joined our forum. He's one of the HTC Vive ambassadors. So
I mean, he surely has some connections with Valve then. So Alexander, my boy, where the hell is Half-Life 3?
Yeah.
Now. Okay, so.
It's on a VR test bench right now, mate.
Hell, I'd even settle for them to re-enable VR in Half-Life 2. That to date is still one of my favorite experiences in VR, and it was so sad when it went away.
Oh, I couldn't agree.
I'll tell you what was
beautiful.
I'll tell you what was sad when it went away, and that was the Tridef driver.
Yeah, I miss Tridef, man.
I'll tell you what, it was. I could as long as I could get it so that it would come up in dual screen like that, I could tweak it so that it was just brilliant, and the 3D was just awesome and everything. And then they just went, no, I can't be asked for that now. So
I've been using Tridef for years. I mean, I've been doing stereoscopy and gaming since the 90s. And, you had the old IZ3D, but then Tridef came on the scene, and it was always like so much better than even in the NVIDIA's solution. Yeah. And for the fact that they literally abandoned VR to focus on 3D mobile, really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
My HTC Evo 3D that's sitting up in the cabinet, was such a popular phone. Yeah. So
we did get a little response from Alexander here, though, regarding Half-Life 3, and he says, I'm sorry, I think Gaben will have me hung,
drawn and quartered. We don't want that. We don't want that out.
Okay, cool.
Right. All I can say is, if Gaben's going to hang, draw, and quarter him, he wouldn't do that if there was nothing to hang, draw, and quarter him over. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So Half-Life 3 confirmed on this channel.
There you go, confirmed right here.
VRSpies confirmed.
Yeah, and he's also mentioning the Half-Life 2 VR was a beta, and we know that. So, what I think is awesome though is, and I never got a chance to play it, was Wormslayer from over at the Oculus Reddit, and his team, when they made Half-Life 2 VR with the Razer Hydras, they have recently had a few posts where they have said that they are working on getting it working with the proper motion controllers and the modern
Excellent.
VR. So
let's face it, Wormslayer rocks. So
dude,
he's a great guy. But I mean, on the subject of Half-Life in VR, I mean, although nothing has been confirmed, it would seem completely ludicrous if Valve aren't ticking away at something over there. Because they'd be off their head not to be doing that, would they not?
Well, here's the thing about Half-Life. I mean, here we go. Chris, if you're watching, this one's for you. I'm going to pull out my old guy in VR story. So playing the original Half-Life was my very first home-based VR experience in the late 90s with the eyeglasses HMD. And it was absolutely amazing. Well, when you look at the Half-Life series all the way from Half-Life 1 to where we are now with the episodic content that they just abandoned, thank you, Valve, for that, leaving us on a cliffhanger, Half-Life has always been introduced with a new technological breakthrough in gaming. So it's always been put out there to push the next big thing in 3D graphics or in computer gaming. So it makes sense to me that, maybe they have been holding out for perfect VR, for good locomotion, to finally bring that to light.
But listen to this, though. I mean, this is also from Alexander Young. In all seriousness, I have been told absolutely nothing about it. All I can say is there are big announcements penned for January. Oh my days!
I'm on the edge of my seat, Alexander. So, there are big VR conferences coming up, and I have heard the rumor and the buzz that Valve is working on some internal stuff. So, only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean,
y'all get out there and buy HTC Vives now, okay? Everybody, just run to the store right now. Take your mama's credit card and buy Vive. Do it.
Apart from Half-Life as well, I mean, the Counter-Strike, that would be another one that I think they'd be absolutely not to bring to VR.
Yeah.
But people's going to be screaming about VR sickness, motion sickness.
Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress.
Yeah, but people are going to be screaming about that anyway, mate.
Yeah. I mean,
it is.
My game's got onward style. It's got FPS style. It's got teleporting. It's got everything that I could do so that anyone can play it and have a good experience. And people are still upset with it. So there's always going to be somebody, But you can't program for that person. It's a matter of I've tried as much as I can to make you have a good experience. And if you're still having a bad experience, then it may just be that we weren't meant to be. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Well, I got to applaud you for that, though, Gary. I mean, that's something that we bring up quite often on the podcast and just in our general conversations. Developers, if you're listening, give us choices, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a big one this week was Abduction. Got Abduction, have been waiting for that as an old school gamer from the 90s, I mean, Myst, Riven, now Abduction. Well, I was very disappointed when I first booted it up, and all I could do was smooth forward motion and smooth strafing, but they still enabled the snap turning. Made my video this week, and not saying my video caused it, but all of a sudden the next thing I know, there's a tweet storm going on about the fact that they listened to the VR community and they added the smooth turning. And after playing it the last couple of nights, it's a totally different game because it works for me now. But, if you need snap turning, use snap turning. So devs, give us choices. That's all we're asking.
It's a tick box. You just need people just need to be able to point at a button and go, okay, I want FPS. Or, it's not working for me. I want onward. It's not working for me. I'll just use the teleport. That's fine. The only place that you can't teleport in push is when you get into a vehicle. Yeah, but if you don't want to use the vehicles, you can use fast forward because I've got the warp step, which kind of projects you 15. It's on a double click, so you don't hit it by accident. Because you had people warping up to buildings like this. It's like, whoa, I didn't even mean to do that. So basically, it's on a double click, and you can cut. It's actually quicker than the vehicles, but needless to say, not as much fun. So.
Well, on the subject of locomotion and teleporting and all that sort of stuff, Garry, as a dev who has got a game there, with both available, is it all that difficult for a dev to say, right, we're going to make the options here to do one or the other?
It was for me because it had never been done before, and people were still trying to work out which was the best way to do it. And I knew what I wanted to achieve. Obviously, the normal locomotion just comes out of the box, so that's fine. But when it came to the actual Vive standing room scale experience, that was the hard one, and making it smooth. And I thought I'd got it so that it was smooth until people started posting videos after launch, and it's like I'm still not happy with that. That needs addressing. So, and even now, the way I've got it at the moment, it's nice and smooth now. But there are times if you bump into some kind of scenery or some geometry, you will bounce up and down, and it's like I need to get rid of that. So again, that's another bunch of work. So yes. If there's no tried and tested, there's no plugin you can buy. This is something that you've got to create yourself. And this is not just me, it's everybody. And we're all trying to make things from scratch, and create something that's going to make everybody comfortable. So short answer is, yes, it is a lot of work, but it's worth it. Just so that you're not cutting anybody out of your target area. It's the same as like I've got Oculus and I've got Vive. Why would I only make it for one? Why would I just bring it out for Oculus? Well, I could do because it's a seated experience. It's just with the joypads, so I don't have to worry about the Vive stuff. But then all of a sudden, I've just cut my market in half by 50%. Why would I do that? Okay, it's going to be hard to do, but once it's done forever, and everyone's happy then. So it's worth the harder work. People who are jumping in and creating Vive games which are just standing only and bit of a wave-based shooter type thing, all that pain goes away if you're not doing that. If you're just doing a wave-based shooter, it's like you can put the teleport in, so that's okay. So there's no actual movement going on, and then it's a matter of, well, I don't have to worry about it anymore. But if you're doing an open world game, well, yeah, you have to worry about it because people have to get from point A to point B. It's as simple as that. So it's worth the extra. Devs, it's worth it. Do it. Man up. Get your big boy pants on or your big girl pants on and get it done.
Damn straight.
It's Uncle Garry talking. Yeah.
No, I mean,
just one more thing on the whole development thing. If you think that you can make a game or you would like to make a game, go and get Unity now and do it. If I can do it, then you can. Yeah, Google is your friend. Get on with it. Contact me anytime.
I mean, you actually know that I have been dabbling around in Unity a little bit, and you've been very encouraging of that. And some of the stuff that like you and Drew Medina have passed on to me. I mean, it really is these days. I mean, you have all the resources at your fingertips, guys. If you have ever wanted to make a game, or even if you just wanted to stand in a creation of your own in VR, which let me tell you is a powerful experience. When I created my first little room based off of the tutorials and uploaded it to VR chat and just went and stood on that mountain overlooking a world that I created, it was a deeply profound experience, and everybody can have that. I mean, it is free software. It's out there. It's for you. Go grab Unity, like Garry said. Start experimenting. It's plug and play, man. If you can do Minecraft, you can do frickin' Unity. It's just a little bit more on the technical side.
Yeah, and there's loads of free assets you can just go and download from the asset store as a starter pack. You don't have to use them in the game, but as a proof of concept. I also get asked a lot, what game should I make? Right, the answer to this is simple. The game that you want to play that doesn't exist, that's the one that you make. That's what I made. I wanted that game and I couldn't find it anywhere, and I certainly couldn't find it in VR, so that's why Push for Emor is on the asset store. Well, he's on Steam right now. So the game that you really want to play, that's the one that you crack on with. Sorry, hijacked again. Sorry.
No. Always, man. Just jump in there.
Never invited again.
We stand on no ceremony here. Everybody talks over everybody else all the time, and that's great. So Alexander actually had a late question for you, and he didn't know if it had been asked. And I really don't know if we had been asked. So exactly how long have you been working on game deving?
About 2 years. The first year was part-time, so it was evenings and weekends, and then from January of this year I've been doing it full-time. I basically got made redundant and they gave me a load of money, and it's like, oh, they've just paid for a year's worth of development there. That's fine, I'll do that then. And the girlfriend was really, really supportive. Guys, if you're single, get yourself a Ginga. Gingas rock. You'll never go back to a normal human being once you've had a Ginga. Sorry. Just in case she's watching downstairs.
And I also think now is most definitely the time. I mean, the time is running out, though, but now is definitely the time to consider jumping in VR development. So there is that. And I'm still waiting for that damn VRSpies game. So get on top of that. And I think Gabe is actually have something in store there as well. Isn't that right, Alexander?
Well, it's funny.
What the hell?
It's funny you mentioned that, because I actually laid down the basis of something like that, and I was going to talk to you guys about that, but that's for a different conversation.
Yeah.
It's like talking about Half-Life 3. All of a sudden, we've got rumor mills about VRSpies game.
Yeah.
It's been brought up a few times. There's been mention of that a few times.
We've thought about cobbling together something pretty, basic and fun just for the fans. So,
are you going to have full body scans?
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to be you guys running around.
It'd be nice. It'd be kind of cool.
I'd have a full body scan as long as they've got a wide angle lens. But then it's fantasy and it's VR, so I could, obviously by the time I'd finished, I'd have a waist. Maybe even a jaw. A jaw would be nice.
Right on. No, that'd be fantastic. But it's like you said. It's just a matter of just, if you have the desire, just get in there and start learning it. I mean, I picked it up from watching some YouTube tutorials that I found were really good. And YouTube, we're all on YouTube. I mean, I got to say, it's a great resource. If you want to learn how to do it, you can just watch somebody else do it and make look like picture.
And listen to this, though. This is also from Alexander. He says, also, Garry, we can have a chat about games funding if you want. I've worked with Creative England in the past. They have some pockets of money for developers in different parts of the country. So you should get on top of that, Garry.
You are my new best friend. Email me.
What? Cooking, Alexander. Yep. You just made yourself a friend.
Come on, yes. Lupus@lupussolace.com. Well, ChunkyLover43 at Yahoo. Both of those.
But
sorry,
absolutely.
That's a Homer Simpson line. I'm not that cool. That's a Homer Simpson line.
I got that one. Yeah, like I said, I get your humor, sir. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I agree with Alexander here, because he's like, oh wow, so short. You're a determined guy. I mean, great work in getting so far in such a short time. And I mean, to have learned all this by yourself, just self-taught. Yeah, if you take a look at Push for Emor, you're going to be impressed. Absolutely, when you think about that.
I think once you start working on it, and if it grabs you, if you start working on a game and it really grabs you, the best thing you can do is get your phone, take a picture of yourself, and send it to your family and friends, and maybe even get a picture of them as well, because you won't be seeing them. My girlfriend just sees the back of my head, and that's it. She puts a glass of wine down in front of me, and that's it. And I'm just focused like 18 hours a day, banging it out, and you do become obsessed. But the payoff is, when you've got something that people are enjoying playing, that's like the biggest gratification ever. So yeah, it doesn't feel like a couple of years dev. Seriously, So, but it's nice when people do give you that pat on the back. It's very gratifying.
Absolutely. I mean, when you
that's me trying to be humble.
Like that, Yeah, exactly,
I was practicing it all day.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I rocket it.
Stand in the mirror there, going, "Say it again, say it again."
Give it a fair shot.
More angst.
It was not that
More
bad.
angst, darling. I felt I rushed.
More angst.
Can we cry a little bit? Suffering
awesome.
for the art.
What's up, Hawk? No, we didn't have a podcast last week. We didn't. So
I know, Harv. We're doing these every 2 weeks now. So
Don.
Yes.
Ask me about Lottie.
Oh yes, because we didn't get to that. So what is going on with Miss Lottie there?
Right.
Everybody wants to know.
So basically, Miss Lottie exists because Life of Brian is my favorite film of all time, and also Ian M. Banks is a great author, and also because I am a child of the original Star Trek. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in the original Star Trek, you've got color doesn't matter. Yeah. Religion doesn't matter. Sex doesn't matter. And Roddenberry was always pushing that. Yeah. And basically, that's where I want to live. Yeah. I want to live in a place where all of those things don't matter and everyone's just a human or non-human. It's like when you're on the mothership and you go and look at the captain who's flying the ship, yeah, it's clearly an Afro-Caribbean lady, yeah, but her head's a little bit too big. So it's almost as if the wall captain Loranga from Age of Conan, who is a big chunky Afro-Caribbean guy, got jiggy with one of the alien girls, yeah, and then the captain happened. So we haven't just got inter-race going on, we've got interspecies going on. Well, who wouldn't want that? Now, in one of Ian M. Banks's books, right, the protagonist goes and sees this couple, and one of them is making the transition from male to female because it's their turn to have the baby, and it's just like, yes, why not? Why can't that just be a thing that just happens? And the protagonist doesn't even bat an eye, and he's like, you know what? I've never really done it, but then I'm not really kind of family kind of person, But in the future, that's the way it should be. So that's why that's there. And if somebody goes up to that and just nopes out when Lottie starts calling you handsome and saying, I'm pre-op, and if they just nope out, it's like, well, I'm sorry, but the game's not for you, mate. It's like you'd nope out if you were watching Ian M. Banks, you were reading Ian M. Banks, So, I'm just obviously born too early. I want a Starship Enterprise uniform, but I want it to be real because I'm going there working.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I want to be that hot girl with the little tablet that Kirk signed.
I want the little tablet that brings Kirk his coffee. Yeah.
But I mean, just going back to that, Lieutenant Uhura, who's always got Starship, Enterprise on finger 3 or something. Yeah, basically, she had a conversation with. Oh God, what's she called? Martin Luther King. Yeah, and she's like, "Well, I'm not quite sure about the role." And Martin Luther King's like, "You play that role. You get in there and you play that role. You are a person of color who is actually doing a job right next to other people where in our society now it's not allowed, but obviously in Roddenberry's world." It's no one even bats an eye, and that's a great thing, and that's the way it should be.
I think it was I was watching a Star Trek documentary about, and they were talking to Whoopi Goldberg, and she was saying, that was her inspiration was, as a child seeing Nichelle Nichols on Star Trek and seeing that there was a woman of color who could be in a position of power and wasn't just the maid or the, that type of role that really kind of pushed her into wanting to be a character on Star Trek as well.
Yeah.
So,
damn the fact it's Star Trek, for God's sake. Who wouldn't? Sorry, rant over. Sorry, guys. Yeah, back to being a nerdy geek sci-fi dude. So that's why Lottie's there. That's why Lottie's there.
There we have it. We have a question though. What programs do you use for 3D modeling? So, off you go.
I don't really, because I outsource it all. Because what I know about 3D modeling, you can write on the back of a stamp, right next to what I know about keeping my ex-girlfriend happy. So, yes, I get people who were gods at that stuff, who were sat there in beanie hats and Cookie Monster t-shirts. They basically do all that, and I just stand on the shoulders of their greatness. So there we go.
Right on.
Yep. At least he's honest. There we go. Brilliant. I'm going to run downstairs real quick, but I'll be back in a second. I'll just need some more paper here. Okay, I'll be back.
Right on.
Is he taking notes?
Yes, he's taking the minutes of the meeting here.
If I didn't talk so much, he wouldn't have run out, really, would he?
I'm just hoping it's not toilet paper for his commode.
Yeah.
Could be. I've got one of those gaming commodes. They're awesome. Yeah.
Oh God.
Shit where you sit. It's fantastic.
Shit
Yeah.
where you sit.
Don't have to get up. Just carry on pawning noobs.
Yeah. Just get a bag and strap it to your leg. Yeah, it's all good. I think I'm going to add that as a feature in Battle Chair now. So,
Yes. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Circular saw.
No, I got to say, this has been awesome. I mean, Garry, you have been such a big supporter of ours, and we are all fans of your game, and it's just been great to actually get the chance to talk to you today about everything that you're doing. And I think it's great. I mean, you're making a game that needs to be out there for the VR community. You're giving us options. I mean, so for myself and the rest of the VRSpies, man, we thank you for bringing Push to Emor out.
Guys, it's an absolute honor to be here. And I tell you what, as well, the feedback from the community in the community section of the store page is just fantastic. I've had a couple of little negative feedbacks, but mainly it's people going, you know what, I really like the game, and this is the pros, these are the cons, and these are my suggestions. And you know what, for an indie dev who's trapped in a little room on his own with a copy of Unity and Mr. Jim, that is gold. Because people are coming up with, like, there was a guy came up with an idea, and he says, I was really disappointed when he said I disabled the pirate ship, and I went onto the pirate ship, and I was really disappointed the fact that I could not then go to the front of the ship and steal it. And I'm like, oh, that is an awesome idea. I never even thought of that. I just wanted to run around, shoot some aliens and steal the stuff, but actually getting in and stealing the ship as well. Oh, okay, right. That's going to be going in at some point, So people giving back feedback like that is just brilliant, and then if they've got bugs that they're coming up against, I would never find these in a million years. So if someone comes up with a bug, I jump all over it. It goes on the to-do list, and I get it. So yeah, the feedback from the guys and the girls in the in the community section has just been phenomenal. It's a real shot in the arm.
Yep. Apart from just the community section on Steam, you're quite involved with the community in general. I mean, you're involved in our VRSpies community Skype chat. You're in there regular, talking with everyone in there regular. You're involved with the forum on the Spies website as well. And it's great to see that you're so keen to interact with people and find out what they're thinking.
It's a bit of a lifeline, I've got to be honest with you, because when Skype automatically boots up on my dev machine. So as I open up Unity, Skype has already opened up, and it's already opened up the chat. And then, and I'll be working away, and then something will just pop up, and it catches me eye, and I'll LOL or something like that, or chip in. Every now and again, there'll be another dev on there, and you'll see us have kind of a semi-serious conversation about, something that he's working on, and it's great. It's great to be able to bounce ideas off people and then and then give feedback to other people who are asking for it, So so it's good.
I think
enjoy
it's fantastic. I mean, seeing you guys as developers interacting, in the Sky community thread and in the forums and stuff, and seeing you guys bounce ideas off of each other, and just, it almost is kind of like peering through the window of the creative process for these games,
And realizing that there's not much mystery to it anyway. All he's doing is he's just winging it and just booting up Google.
Hey, when in doubt, Google it.
Yeah, exactly. Being a grown-up, being a game dev, it's all about just Googling stuff, hoping nobody notices.
But I'm curious. I have a question. Will this head crab make an appearance today or tonight? Head crab. There he is.
Head crab.
Now that's how you roll. Yeah.
I'll just leave that on. Emperor head crab.
That's what I'm talking about. Excellent.
He lives on top of the. I haven't got it on at the moment. Yeah, he lives on top of the. On top of the lava lamp. I've got a lava lamp. I'm very classy.
That's awesome.
Nothing wrong with a lava lamp, man.
Hey, I was gonna say,
he's a classy broad, He's a classy broad.
Yeah, I've got it all going on. Kissing is extra. I'm sorry. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Everyone breaking out the lava lamp.
You gotta have your lava lamp, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I think we are probably starting to get to the point where we are going to start wrapping up. So if there is any other questions for Garry or any of us, now would be the time to do it. Obviously, before we wrap up, though, I think I just wanted to once again thank Garry for coming on today and for everything that he's done, in the community. So, man, thank you so much. And I also wanted to kind of ask the guys here, because we really haven't done anything on the personal front. So, anything that you guys did this week that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to say, right off the bat, no, guys, this is not a mask. This is actually my face. So, just getting that out there.
He's handsome now.
But yeah, what were you saying? What we've been playing and doing and stuff?
No, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, let's before we wrap it up. I mean, just kind of, I know people get curious about what we're passionate about as well. So, I mean, what have you guys done this week?
Absolutely. I did take a quick look at that. Oh my gosh, what was that game though? The one that just got released and they sort
Abduction.
of. Yeah, Abduction. Yeah,
that was my passion this week as well. So
yeah, wasn't it? Wasn't that just a marvelous little VR experience? I mean, I really felt. I said that many times, but this time I really felt I was visiting an alien planet and just roaming the land. It was awesome, and I can't wait to jump back in that thing.
Yeah, I played some last night actually, and got through the first couple of where the puzzles are starting to get harder, and the storyline is starting to build. And
Excellent.
What I think is awesome, and it's kind of gotten mentioned a couple of times over on Reddit, is this really is kind of an homage to the games of the 90s, where there wasn't a lot of hand holding. You really have to get in there and kind of sink your teeth into this game and kind of start learning the backstory. There's lots of stuff to pick up and read,
Right.
so that you can kind of be part of it. But I got to tell you, there's something about that game, and we all review games, and we've all been in the scene for a long time. It's very rare these days that I pick up a game and I am just dumbstruck by it. And I got to say, Abduction is one of those rare instances where I picked up that game and I was just, like we were talking about earlier, that sense of childlike wonder, that sense of awe just struck me immediately.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely, as you said, it's so nice to finally see a game that is actually not holding your hand through the entire experience. This actually brings us back to the good old days where you actually had to wrap your mind around certain things to progress, and you have to keep an eye up. And it is absolutely an exploration game. And this is, from the guys behind games like Myst, River, I think they also
Riven.
did. So
Riven. Yeah.
Exactly. So there you have it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Myself, I've had quite a bit of spare time on my hands this week. I haven't really done anything in the way of new VR stuff, but due to Frontier dropping the 2.2 update for Elite Dangerous, I've spent a silly amount of time in Elite Dangerous this week. Probably more than you should spend in a game in a week, but yeah.
Definitely been putting in some hours in
been
Elite, man.
for 40 odd hours in VR this week.
Wow.
And it was mainly due to the fact that they dropped this alien archaeological site on the planet. There's been another alien crash site found with anacondas, Type 9s, and an alien ship all down in the same place. Part of the alien ship being embedded in one of the human ships. So I went in, I thought I need to get some cash together. So yeah, spent a silly amount of time in there doing the passenger missions, racked up myself a nice cool 100 million in a week, which I thought was quite an achievement for me there. And yeah, I've been really enjoying Elite again. Really enjoying
I gotta say, I when you guys hipped me to the passenger mission thing, like you said, just the ability to build up cash so fast. I mean, that's been incredible, and the fact that I'm now flying my first big boy ship, finally after a year and a half sold my Viper because I've always been in the same ship, and I'm flying the Ass, and you and Chris had recommended, and it literally made the game even more beautiful with that huge glass cockpit.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the scale of everything just looks amazing now.
Yeah, that's it's a nice ship, and when you're doing those passenger missions, you can really get your jump drive up, get a nice big jump drive on, and be jumping 25, 30 light years and flying through the passenger missions and racking that cash up. And it's been good. I mean, I went from when I first started playing Elite at the start of the week, I had 1,000 credits in the bank and got up to 100 million in like 5.5 days with the passenger missions, and I'm now flying a Python as of today, as well as still having that ASP in the bank, which is great.
What the heck? Okay, sorry, I've got to address this comment. Dr. Muzak says if you Google my tag VR Gamer Dude this week, I've released 200 pirated VR games. What? No, don't think so. So, Dr. Muzak, if you could elaborate on that just a little bit, I'd be very interested to find out what you are talking about, sir. Because I do not condone piracy. We like to support the developers who make the games. So, interesting. I'm going to be Googling that right now, as a matter of fact, and see what he is.
Yeah, we may have another VR Gamer dude out there somewhere.
Well, now maybe we should bring that up a minute, because you actually had a little trouble, and Wayne had a little trouble these last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
kind of a sensitive subject.
Someone stealing content on YouTube. It is in the process of being dealt with. I'm not going to name any channel names, but my channel popped up out of nowhere, and just strangely enough, it was actually myself that discovered that GameHard's actually got the same issue. Some of the people that were watching GameHard stuff have pointed out to him that he's got the same issue. So, yeah, myself, Wayne, and I think GameHard as well are all in the process of getting that.
Okay.
Sad thing, but I mean, it happens. We all know it happens on YouTube, and it's unfortunately quite easy for people to do this. So yeah, it's one of these things that you have to deal with.
Yeah, and Alexander, we will most definitely be appearing on Jerry Springer with this shit and knock the shit out.
Yeah, I guess myself as well as others in the chat are Googling VR Gamer Dude as we speak, and we are not coming up with these results. So
yeah, maybe you could drop a link somewhere for us, and we'll have a little look at that.
If you want to drop a link, we'd love to find out who might be using my game and my gamer tag in reference to piracy. Now, ironically, this has really got me concerned, though, because earlier in the week I did get a message over on my YouTube channel that kind of alluded to something similar. So I'm starting to wonder if maybe old VR gamer dude here has been hacked in some way.
Hey, that sort of stuff goes on all the time, you know.
I guess, man. This would be the first for me, but yeah, I got a message over here on my YouTube channel saying that I had joined some Russian forum. And
which wife did you buy?
VRWife.com.
But
they don't look like that in the picture. You know, when they arrive, they look nothing like they do in the profile.
Yeah. So anyway, well, if you guys, call out to our community here. If if you see anything like this in connection with myself or any of us, please let us know. Being semi-public figures, I guess it's expected to happen from time to time, but I do want to put it out there right now. I do not in any way, shape, or form condone piracy of games. With Garry sitting here, we want to support these developers. We want to support the growing VR ecosystem. So don't pirate games, buy them. Buy them on Steam. If you don't like it, refund it.
It's so cheap as well, so
Absolutely, and you're just fooling yourself in the end, though, because by doing that, you're just ending up seeing more and more shitty games, and you don't want that. You want to support the developers so they can continue making great games for all of us. So
exactly, these guys got to eat, So,
yeah.
But,
absolutely. Look at Garry over here, man. He's just
these bottles are full of cold tea.
Yeah. Garry got to eat, so support the fucker.
I've got a filter on.
Oh, the filter. Yeah, I forgot about the filter. Yeah, the old man filter.
Yeah, he's got the old guy sitting in the chair filter. He borrowed it from me.
I actually look like a 19-year-old Olympic swimmer, so I've just put the old man filter on so people don't feel intimidated.
Now hold on here, man. Just a second ago, you just looked like Nathan's brother. What's going on here?
He's a 19-year-old Olympic swimmer.
Okay, there we have it. You heard it here first. Well.
Right on. All right. Well, guys, I think unless somebody else has anything that they want to get out there, or if there were any last-minute questions for us, we are spilling over here. We got about an hour and a half today, so if you guys want to keep
Sorry about
going,
that.
No, dude.
We're happy to be in here.
Sit here and talk to you all day, Garry. It's what we do every day on our Skype channel. So
yeah.
This is just like taking it online, taking it to a different level. So
who do I send the bill to?
Right?
Who do I invoice?
Yeah, no, I thought we invoiced you.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, whatever. Good luck with that then.
Promotion. Right on. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. As always, we want to thank everybody for coming in and watching VRSpies Exposed. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, and we will see you on the next one. Peace, y'all.
Yeah. See you.
See you later, guys. Buy the game. Buy the game. Buy the game.